So today I have the pleasure to have a very special guest, a brother, a friend of mine. And since he's a special person, I'm gonna let him do the introduction. It's gonna be a little bit different today, guys.
Fantastic.
So,
Hi guys,
Steve Marcone.
Steve Marcone, a good friend, a brother from another mother with Ziad, owner and operator of Bistro Amerigo, Italian restaurant downtown, where you could see Ziad at least 2-3 times a week enjoying some nice pastas. But
That's why I can't lose weight.
just here today, actually, honestly, brother, I just want to celebrate and congratulate you on the last few podcasts that you had. They're amazing. And I know it's not easy starting something up. Obviously, successful real estate, great friend, reputation, nice. And now launching this, I just want to say congratulations. I know nothing is easy and it's just you're doing great. And that's it. Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And same thing, I can only appreciate your time. I know your time is very valuable, Steve.
Oui.
So I appreciate that you're here today, sharing your story, sharing your success story. I also know you very well for 15, 16 years on a personal level. So I only have respect for who you are as a person. I see how you manage, your personnel, how nice you are to people,
Thank you.
your clients, how good of a father you are. So tell us a little bit about how can it be that you can be a successful businessman and also a successful father and husband at the same time?
I think it almost starts with like when you're talking about the entourage, like the name of your podcast.
Yes.
It's funny because I always like to see where the origins of words start from, and like entourage actually starts from the word like surround, to like surround yourself, and it goes back to Latin, which I found out was like a superundui. And so it's like it actually means rise in waves, right? So when you surround yourself with people, they actually help you rise. It's kind of funny the way it works. So, there's that saying there, the tide raises all ships. And so when you have these ships next to you of just great people, it doesn't allow you to fall, and water gets in the boat, certain things happen in life and we will mess up. That's for granted. But when we do, not if you mess up, when you mess up, who are you surrounded by? Who helps you rise in those waves? Who helps you really get up there? And you're one of those people for me, and I'm happy that I got to be one of those people for you. And I think that's the key to our success, is really to surround yourself with people that when those waves come, helps you rise.
Absolutely. I can't agree more with what you're saying right now. And like, look at les métaphores that you're giving us right now. And this is exactly one of the aspect of Steve that I like, is whenever there's something wrong in my life, or I'm feeling down or whatever, like something like that, something is off. It's these kind of conversations that I'm always having with this amazing man, that he always finds a way to bring people up.
Fantastic.
And from the moment, by the way, the moment we step into your restaurant, we feel that energy coming from you.
Thank you.
The moment somebody walk in, we feel that energy, we feel that welcoming, that warm welcoming that you have. So I can only appreciate what you offer to other people and to myself. So I'm very grateful to have you in my surrounding.
Thank you. I appreciate it, brother.
Could you get us more details about your surrounding?
With family, you know what? The restaurant is named Amerigo, which is my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up and now becoming a father, you get to now realize like what it means and what it asks from you, like the complete sacrifice that it is. And I think that's when people come to Amerigo, they feel, because we have our manager there who's a father, one of our head waiters is a father, the chef. And so you have this very nurturing aspect. And I think, it's all about being grateful. And so for me, having that Christian background and knowing that when I messed up, and we have that Christian guilt and everything goes on, and do you feed into it, or you just look at those people next to you and understand the challenges they faced and how they really work through them, through God, through family, and who God uses to be in front of you. And I'm just grateful that my dad's still with us today and he's still there. He remains one of those strongholds for me. And then we have, so many people that are part of my restaurant that add so much to my life. And I think what helps me be a great father is my father. What helps me to be a great friend are my friends. And What helps me to help other people are my experience that happened to me, and the fact that just God gives us the strength to have the ability to move forward. Do we decide to be a victim, or do we decide to take that, learn, and say, okay, how do I give this experience to somebody else and make sure they don't have those same challenges that I had, or if they do, at least be compassionate about it. Because today I'm on top, and then tomorrow you don't know, but on top is a mentality. You only allow it to bring you down if you plant that seed inside of you. And I think surrounding yourself with people like yourself, and that are doing great, that you're in real estate and I have those questions, and you grab that momentum like we're doing this morning. Right. You leave, you're off to work, and it's like it can only go up from here, not down, because we're starting on this massive momentum. So
interesting. Do you think part of your success comes from, you were talking about your dad, how good of a example he was in your life. Do you think part of any man's success comes from the household, or it comes really more from l'entourage? Like what played a bigger role in your life? Was it really your dad, or was it more your entourage? Being surrounded with the right people, with the right mindset.
I think ultimately it comes down to you, because at that point you have a choice. So what happens is, some people don't have a great dad.
I like that answer.
Thank you.
I see where you're going with that, because I know you as a person.
and so many people don't have the best dad in the world.
Yeah.
Right? But you can always be a better child.
Yeah.
It's easy to blame, he wasn't the best dad. Okay, but what's stopping you from being the best kid? What's stopping you from calling him and saying, what, I still appreciate you for what you've done.
Yeah.
I know it's not easy because I'm going through it now, but I'm going to be a better dad because you weren't. But I'm going to be an amazing son to you because I still thank God every day. So you're allowed to change the script on that. Friends are going to let you down, but that's like God's love. He doesn't love on condition that you meet his demands. He loves unconditionally. I think that's why people love dogs so much, because you can mess up so many times, scream at them for peeing on the floor, leave the house, come back 5 minutes later, and he's equally as excited to see you. That's not going to happen with my wife. They hold a grudge, it's not going to happen. I show up late. So it's just funny. And I think that's why, so people just naturally gravitate, oh my God, I love more dogs more than humans. Yeah. It's because we see that unconditional love. And I think in life, that has to stem from ourselves, and whether you believe in God or you don't, I think, I don't go to church because I'm perfect. I go to church because God is perfect, or we're trying to be perfect. And so the magic is in the attempt of just trying to better yourself. And I think that's where, what makes you a better person is just owning it. They say I'm a wise man, and it's talking about blame and blame and blame. And ultimately at the end, it's just saying, well, once the person doesn't blame anybody else and just really accepts responsibility, that's that true point of wisdom.
Yeah.
And I think we always have the opportunity to flip the script and say, okay, if he wasn't an amazing person, let me be an amazing person. And I'm done convincing, trying to have people in my life, like an unsatisfied customer. Oh, I'm not going to come back here. Well, that's fine. Let me share that experience with somebody else who's willing to accept that. You're not a hostage in life. You have the ability to walk away. And so, knowing when to walk away, I guess. Tell me.
There's one amazing aspect that I love about you, Steve, is beside your entrepreneur side, you're also an amazing believer in God. You're very close to your faith, and I think it's clear for us that nowadays it's rare to see, people successful and at the same time close to God, because even in the Bible it says, it's either money or me. Both can create some kind of confusion in anybody's life, and it can create some kind of lack toward one side or the other. In your case, I know, and because I know it for a long time, you were capable of having the success, but also being very close to God, which is very, 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 very rare. So tell us, how is this possible? And what kind of message can we send to people who think that, it's not possible to do both at the same time?
Look,
I'm sorry if it's...
No, it's perfect. There's no
we have to say it because I know you, Steve.
I mean, there's so many fronts that people go and say, oh, I know I saw this person drunk, or I saw them swearing, or I saw them doing... and ultimately, like I said before, it really comes down to understanding that I'm a Christian not because I'm perfect. It's because at least I'm trying to be. And to be Christian is to be Christ-like. So ultimately, you're thinking, oh, the person is trying to be like God. Who do they think they are? I'm not trying to be God. I'm trying to be an example like what he did. And when we sin, not if we sin, when we sin, when we fall, these are not ifs, these are realities. We will. Where do we go to? And that's where that anxiety gets taken away. It's understanding that the world is going to move forward regardless. Our time here is so small, but how do we make it sweet? And that balance really becomes understanding to, what we have and what we're grateful for. And so every day I look forward, we have this amazing restaurant. I go into work, I'm surrounded by amazing people. We get to eat food, we get to enjoy time. So all these amazing things that so many people take for granted.
Yeah.
And so I have that at my disposal, and I thank God for that. And I think just being aware, allows us to do that. And I think that's what makes you almost a good Christian, is just understanding what you have. And you're going to mess up, but God is just always going to be there. He's always going to be there. And for me, there's so many times where I failed, but that surrounding that we talk about just allows me to not fall. It just allows me not to sink. And it's like there's so much of a metaphor when you say, God literally walking on water. And it's amazing how he gives you the ability to move forward without realizing. Yeah.
Nice. Conversation with him, like, honestly, but I have to say something, honestly. I think Steve, ideally, and I would love it, and it's coming from the bottom of my heart, I would love to have you more often on my podcast, because the conversation we can have with you, it's honestly, it's very special, and it's rare to have these kind of conversations. And for me, as Ziad, when I need help, or when I need some kind of a guidance, I always ask you. So
I thank God for that, because so many times I'm in my own thoughts.
When it comes to girls, when I'm dating,
what not to do.
Exactly, what to do and what not to do. So me personally, whenever I'm looking for guidance or some suggestion, I always come to you, Steve. And it's impressive because you're a young person, but you have so much wisdom. Can we say your age?
Yeah, for sure. 44, going to be 45 this year, shortly.
Okay. So it's impressive how much wisdom you have, and humbleness. Can we say humbleness? Is this the right word?
Yeah, for sure. I think really it comes from the experience when you work in restaurants and you've seen so many walks of life.
Yeah.
You've seen people at the best of times and at the worst of times. I think that's very humbling. Also putting out content. So many times in the beginning in a restaurant, and you're a chef and you're young, you put out food, and I look at pictures of stuff I did in the past.
Yeah.
And I'm, oh my God, what was I thinking? And it was good at that time from where I was. And then you just start to evolve, and then, God gives you these opportunities just to get better and better and better and better. And I'm just grateful for that. And I think, I'm just happy to be that for you. And I'm sure you are that for other people. And so many times you're that person for me.
Yes.
Because sometimes I take myself too seriously, and then I look at you and I'm like, you know what, man, it's cool. And as I'm sharing with you, I'm actually repeating that to myself. So
it's a reminder, constant reminder.
100%. It's like you're saying, I love you to your kid, and you just realize how grateful you are to God that there's so much in front of you right there, your family and everything else. You're eating around the table, and when you're surrounded by those people, you can't help but get emotional. And so, so it's always a pleasure being at the table with you. So, yeah, you've been asking me a lot of questions and stuff, and I love it because I've been on a few podcasts before, restaurants, there's so many, foodies, bloggers, everyone that comes in, and we're always on the hot plate. Everyone's like trying to something, and then they grill you on like Google reviews and stuff, and that's always fun. But one nice thing that me and Ziad had in common, we actually met, we were both in hotels. I remember you were just leaving, you were just graduating from hotel school. This we're talking over 15 years, about 15 years ago.
2008.
Yeah.
2011, I graduated.
And so I remember I was leaving hospitality and you were getting into it, and I was going into the restaurants.
Yeah.
And so it was nice because we had a very similar starting point.
Yeah.
A lot of girlfriends, a lot of...
What's the shoe back in the days?
So hotels, yes. No, it's kidding. So we started from this amazing, and I think there's something so fun about that because we had the ability to always talk with people, and that's one thing I find we always had in common, which was really fun. And so, you know, a lot of people know my story with the restaurant, how it started. You know, I was young, I went to Italy, came back, was in hotels, and then just kind of wanted to follow my passion, which I originally started when I was 18, and then I just followed through to Amerigo, and it just kind of evolved.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you evolve into real estate? You know, I kind of know the story, but there was this gap that we didn't speak for a few years.
Yes.
And then I just see your Honda Civic turning into a Land Rover.
It's a great question. I think
what was your first car, by the way?
I spoke briefly about it with on our previous podcast, how everything started.
What was your first car in real estate? What was that?
Real estate, my first car was...
Did you get a before
You
after?
want the truth? The first month, I didn't even have a car. I was driving my brother's car. And then I got myself a 535.
Who, Rudy's
2012.
or George's car?
George.
What car was it?
It was a GTI Golf.
Nice.
Small
I had
car.
that. That's one of my first
Yeah,
cars.
but I drove it for like few months only. And then after a couple of checks, I'm like, I need to buy something.
Okay, nice.
And I got myself that the BMW 535. It was a 2012. It was back in 2017.
Okay. We were like,
not bad.
am I spending money I don't have in hopes that I was going to make that money, or you had a little bit of money saved up?
No, I didn't have any money saved up.
So you dug deeper.
I faked it. Like we say, I faked it till I make it.
I know you go the same way. Trust me, I was way deeper before. Yeah,
exactly. That was my beginning, actually. Yes, it's fun that you asked me these questions because it reminded me of, you know, how fun it was in the beginning. You know, at the same time, yes, there was struggling, but it was fun at the same time because you enjoy every single, you know, success.
And that's when you exactly. So it's that idea of success back then meant just getting that new car. And so when people ask me about Amerigo, like I still feel successful when I look on a Friday night and I see smiling faces.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, but it's just okay. Now we're making a little bit more money, and so comes payday, it's obviously a lot more exciting.
To answer your question too, at the same time, I back then in 2016 when I did that move, I was doing a lot of seminars, right? And I learned a concept in life because, you know, there's a poor mentality and there's a rich mentality, right? And you know, normally people with a poor mentality, they're gonna say, when I'm gonna have money, I'm gonna get this, or right?
Yeah, for sure.
They're always gonna wait for when they're gonna get the money to buy it. And at a certain point after a seminar, something caught my attention, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give it a try. And this is when I started to attract things. So I told myself, I'm gonna buy it because I'm gonna make more money. And shortly after my first car, I bought a better car. Even though I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be tight. And then I bought a better car a year after. And it's been the concept since the beginning, you know.
Did your surrounding change?
Buy it because you're gonna make more. And it's been working, thank God, luckily.
Did your surrounding change in that? Like, I mean, apart from material things, what daily routine changed? I mean, in hotels, it's different, right? You gotta show up at 9 o'clock. You got to show up at 3 o'clock. You had that 8-hour day. Like, how did your 8-hour day start? Because I mean, you waking up in the morning, you have your real estate license. Like, I know when I had the restaurant, it's 24 hours. I mean, honestly, in the beginning, it swallowed me alive. How did you, like, what would you say change? Because I did real estate for a bit, but I was too young.
I did change. I did see the change at the beginning by working literally seven days a week, nonstop. I was literally taking everything. You know, back in the days, I was working with somebody who's big in real estate. So he was feeding me. He was feeding me a lot of clients, buyers. I was doing all the buyers, all the open houses. Every single Sunday, I was in an open house. So I literally, sometimes I was even forgetting to have lunch. Like, this is how bad it was. So I had to be reminded by my surrounding to, like, you know, you have to eat at the same time. So the beginning, I was hungry for it. And when you're hungry for something, you know, and you see the success coming, you're not gonna stop.
Yeah.
C'est de l'adrénaline, en fait. And that's exactly what happened. But the turning point, really was when the reason why I decided to switch to real estate. One, I was living. I really hit rock bottom, just like I said with Daniel on my previous podcast, and I was really feeling bad that time. And I was praying. This is when I started getting closer to God, and I was asking for guidance. And it's unbelievable once you start putting the work and taking the steps, how God starts putting the right people in your life.
For sure.
Even if it's for a short amount of time. There's a lot of people who play an important role. L'entourage, right? We're talking about l'entourage. On est dans l'entourage. So, je me suis attiré ça. So, j'ai commencé à avoir des personnes dans ma vie qui ont été capables de m'aider ou de me guider à faire la bonne chose. Et ça m'a propulsé. It made me, rise faster. Rise faster. And yeah, that's it. I don't know if I answered the question though.
You did.
Did I? Okay.
Nice. It's fun when you hit that breaking point there where things just kind of feel like it's on autopilot a bit. I think now we have such an amazing team at my work that I'm allowed to like take this morning off. Before I was filled with this anxiety. And like you said, even before, like having the ability to just remember to eat. And I remember those moments, and so when so many people ask me, well, how'd you do it? Or what was it? There's no magic sauce to it. It's just really chipping away. And you see those images on Instagram where the guy's digging, then turns around, and then the water was just like 1 centimeter away. Yeah. And it's like that. I mean, that barrier, it's just so small that, in luck, it's like when preparation meets opportunity. That opportunity, it's literally there. But are we prepared for it? And it just starts with that momentum. I remember so many times getting into work, and then somebody from la Journal de Montréal is like right there. She says, j'étais juste ici à côté, je voulais juste passer. And then finally you have the chance to just have coffee with her. And I'm like, wow, man, God really just put that person right in front of us. And it's amazing how, how just you look back and God was there in so many ways. It's just, you look back at that sale that you made, or a customer that walked in, that review that was amazing. And so it's always nice to see the change and what you've managed to build.
Steve, I think you can, I don't know if you can agree with me, but you also need to know yourself and how you function. Like in my case, being stressed, it helped me. It gave me that fire to like move forward. So that period I was so stressed out. And when I put myself in a stress zone, I told you, like I started buying more expensive stuff. Even though I couldn't afford them at the beginning, I still did it. And by putting myself in that position of living above what I can afford, it drove me to do better, right? To perform better. And I don't know in your case, did you feel that?
I like that because you said you had no plan B.
No plan B.
And that's what it is, I think. And so when you just make it the plan, and failure just doesn't become an option, that's when there was a breakthrough. I was so down at the restaurant. It's like at one point, if I fail, that's it. I'm at zero now. So zero, like, that's it. You're all in. And I think and when you were at that moment, I can clearly remember when I was at that moment. We were in an apartment. I had this literally a Fred Flintstone car. It was I think it was like 1996 or 1997 Honda Civic 4-door sedan, blue, with a rusted floor interior. And I remember one time I'm just hearing this weird sound. That
was your first car?
No, that was my first car when I was with my wife, and we were, actually we had the Honda Odyssey, and this was my 2010. I had this car on the way to work all the time. Yeah. And I was looking there and I was like, okay, what's that sound? And then you're looking at the floor. So, okay, I got to change this car. And I remember taking the bus to work, and 2 kids, apartment, and you're looking at all these expenses, and business at that time was good, but then we had our challenges. And then, okay, how do I make it better? And then it's like, okay, I'm gonna open up my Amerigo. And it's like, okay, what's that gonna entail? Another thousands and thousands of dollars of debt. And it's like, I know I'm going to lose my money, but I know if I don't spend more money, I know I'm going to lose this money, right? And it becomes to this point where you don't have a plan B. You have no other ship to count on. It's like, I gotta take this and just let it ride. I think that's where people need to be. I think, when you're broken, God can break you just a bit more, just to mold you into what He needs towards your plan. It's crazy. So when I look at that, it's funny because and I'm sure so many other business people just look back and say, I remember that specific moment where I didn't have any other choice, and say, bam, your back is against the wall. I'm getting the car. I'm getting this. I'm waking up tomorrow morning, and I'm going to make that sale. And I like that.
So Steve, people they heard me talking so much about your restaurant, Bistro Amerigo on Monkland. But tell us a little bit more about it. What's the agenda for 2024? What's coming? Anything new on the menu? What's your plans?
Honestly, 2024, we just renewed the lease. So I was really excited about that. That was a lot of stress last year. And so I said, okay, where are we moving forward? How are we expanding? And so this year, everything was just kind of like, we saw it come to completion. It was great. So we're going to be there on that street for another few years to come. And we're happy about that. And so what it allowed me to do now is just double down. So we just did some nice modifications in the kitchen, better work environment for our team. We have an amazing team that's been on board for us. I think one of the key success points that we have at Amerigo is that there's so many familiar faces. My daughter's there.
Yeah.
So my adopted niece is there. Mike, aka Big Sexy, Bappy, who's been like, these guys are just pillars of strength for me.
And that's what makes the difference between you and other restaurants, I guess. It's oh my God.
Say it, it's there.
Yeah, it's there.
They're the ships that are next to me, man. They're just, honestly, they make it so much easier.
The stability, that's the word I was looking for.
And
the stability and the staff, they're always there. It's always the same people. So when you go, you're expecting the same people, the same kind of service. And that's, I think, what makes the difference. It's like family.
Yeah.
When you walk there, it's family. It's like I'm walking home. And every single people that I meet there, and I met a lot of people, in the past few years, we all say the same thing. C'est quoi le dénominateur commun chez Amerigo? C'est souvent, tu te sens en famille, le même staff tout le temps, le même service, le même niveau de service pendant longtemps. So, chapeau bas.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And when I speak to also friends that have done transactions with you, it's the same thing. It's just, you can't fake that, and I think that's one thing that's been key to our success. And so you can't fake your genuineness, that sincerity that's there. And also with Amerigo, we have honestly, I'm thank God every day for that. The restaurant, there's so many moving parts, and all those moving parts that are there, honestly, I don't see, I'm their boss or anything. Honestly, yesterday I wasn't even there, and everyone just took an amazing lead. I didn't even have to call, I didn't even have to check in, and it's just so nice knowing that I have the ability to do so and count on them. And so for this year, 2024, we're going to be revamping the pergola. I just left a nice deposit, and so we're going to be trimming it up, clean it up in the front.
Can I bring my shisha?
After 10. After 10. In the back alley, it's no problem. It's
the mix of culture. I can bring the shisha, with Italian food. It can be nice.
I'm down. I miss shisha. It's good.
Some belly dancing. I have a question. You were talking about your daughter being there, obviously, but you also have not blood related staff, right? And they've been there forever. So, en tant qu'entrepreneur, what's the main value that you have as an entrepreneur to keep the same staff for this long?
It's to prioritize them, and my job is literally to make their job easier. And not their job, but it's just it's obviously we have to share that same vision. Obviously when I'm there, I'm thinking, okay, this is what I want to see on the plate, but I have to have the chef be a chef. I have to have our manager express his passion with wine, and so having the others have the ability to express their art and everything, and you have to be sensitive to that. And so sometimes, in such situations, you have to put your foot down and everything. But I think the beauty about Amerigo was so many people are allowed to be themselves. And I think Amerigo, it's my dad's name, and it's very family oriented. And so sometimes we're not always going to agree. But one neutral thing that we agree on is the fact that we want to make it a great experience. We might think, okay, something needs more cheese, more salt, less salt. The end goal here, instead of taking those things personally, is understanding that where's our goal?
Mm-hmm.
We're not always going to agree on something, and that's fine. But one thing we can agree on is that we want to have the success. We want to make the experience great. So I have no problem fighting over that. It's like you see Michael Jordan fighting with Pippen or giving shit to somebody else, and it's like they both want to win the championship. So it's okay to have that argument because the goal is the same. If somebody didn't care on the team, that's you can't have. If somebody doesn't care, that's not toxicity. You got to remove that from your life. If you're arguing and you're on the court with somebody, it's okay. The goal is that we want that championship. We want to exceed. We want to be there for another 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what allows me to digest sometimes those arguments. And it allows us to push forward and be together for such a long time. That goal is the same.
Statistically talking, restaurants in Quebec, they last about 5 years, you know. In your case, you've been there for 15?
Yeah, we're heading on 15 years.
15 years. I mean, obviously, there's a big gap between, you know, the life expectancy of a restaurant and what you have accomplished so far. My question is, do you think this is due to your personal effort, God, because, you know, obviously God intervention in your life because you're very close to God, because of your surrounding, because you made the right choice by picking the right staff, or it's a combination of everything at the same time?
Honestly, going back to maybe 10 minutes ago, no plan B.
Okay.
No plan B. I think one of the keys to that success was
because plan B is distraction to plan A, right?
And it just allowed me to push forward.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, there was no other option. So I couldn't see life without me having this opportunity and seeing it into full completion.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's where the success point happened. You look at real estate agents. I mean, how many are out there? You're what, part of the 5 percentile? Not even?
Mm-hmm.
You're successful, right? There's how many people that are in real estate? And when you look back and I say, you know, there's nothing easy out there unless you're following your passion, because then you don't have to work a day in your life. You know, there's a difference between hustling and working. You know, if you're feeling like you're schlepping all day, that's different. And that's okay to do that towards a goal. Mm-hmm. Understanding that's a bridge you have to build and that's a bridge you're gonna have to cross, and knowing, you know, so sometimes when I look at young kitchen staff and young chefs, I'm like, take this experience, learn from it. What do you like? What don't you like about it? And so one thing I didn't like about the past is when I was eating and, you know, somebody would say, oh, you're eating the profits or something like this. And, you know, you're cooking all day for so many people, and then the boss is like shitting on you. I was like, what the heck, man? Mm-hmm. Like, I can't eat. And so when, you know, staff has to go to the bathroom, when they have to eat, when they need to make that phone call, being human, I said, mm-hmm. you know, the day I'm gonna have my restaurant, I'll never say something like this. I see one of my staff members eating, I'll say bon appetit. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, obviously if it's an expensive dish, I'll even let them finish. I'll talk to them afterwards. Say, listen, you know, next time we just need to be sensitive for food costs. How was it though? You can't take away those simple pleasures in life, you know? And I think once you find your plan A, once you find, you know, your why in life, mm-hmm. Find your why. And it was a great book, by the way. Once you find that, that's where the success lies. Clothing industry has shifted. People that have boutiques, you look at them, it's like now everything's going online. Everything's shifting, you know? And so you're surrounding yourself by so many other things. You know, I would have never saw myself as a restaurateur 15 years later. Mm-hmm. I just said, I have to open up Amerigo. And then 15 years just flew by. Did you see yourself as being the top 5%? It just flew by. That was your goal. And then here you are. You know, so where do you see yourself in the next 15 years?
Well, what an important question. Wow. I don't know. Look, success for me have shifted. The definition of success. For me now, my priority is family. It's building a family.
And I want that for you too, brother. Really do.
Thank you. It's building a family, have somebody that I can share, you know, those special moments, the success with that person, you know, building an amazing family and be the captain of that family, you know, have that reason to come back home. I already said it in the past. I'm there. So in 15 years, I'll see myself still doing real estate for sure, but also an amazing father and an amazing husband.
So if you want to date this beautiful young man,
yes.
Please show up to 6127 Moncton. Open from Tuesdays.
Can you play?
Hit him up on his DMs.
Can you play a quick game? I'm going to ask you a couple of questions.
Tell me.
I want to answer with one word.
Perfect.
Your favorite book? And I hope you're going to say...
I mean, the Bible is not a... It's more than a book. It's like, it's a manual,
Okay.
you know? So Bible's a given,
Mhm.
you know, because that's like almost like a lesson in life.
Yeah.
The Success Principles by Jack Canfield.
Mhm.
It was one of the first success books I got. I'm talking over 20 years ago, by an ex-girlfriend of mine who's successful, amazing person, by the way. And she bought me this Principles of Success by Jack Canfield.
Okay.
Because you could actually take this book, read it, and then need a notepad next to it.
Mhm.
So I really found that one interesting. It was really, really nice. And that helped me with my shift in life from hospitality and biz and then to entrepreneur.
Okay. Success in one word.
Gratefulness.
Wow. Wow.
Being grateful for what you have, just understanding that moment.
Ziad.
A champ. Just good energy, man.
I didn't pay him anything. That's
energy. Energy. When you walk into the room, you have presence, you know, and it's not cockiness, it's not arrogance or anything like this, because you have this calm energy about you. But yeah, energy, and it's a good one.
Last one, Mikey, because I know
My son.
how your son is everything for you. So in one word, if you can, obviously, because obviously you can talk until tomorrow. But Mikey,
My heart, honestly, there's so many things that just go through your mind.
yes, tears.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
You know,
Wow.
because there's
See,
so many.
this is what I want. That's success. This is success, guys. Believe me. No
Well,
money,
because
no
so many
house.
things go through your mind, but then you realize that you can lose your mind, you know, but you can't lose your heart. And if you do, nothing really matters, you know. And so he just put everything into perspective. So many times going home, I'm like, how the F am I going to pay for this?
Yeah.
What am I going to do? And so for me, the second Mikey was born, there was no more plan Bs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had to give this kid a better life than me. That's it. You know, my sole goal. And so everything shifted for me.
Mm-hmm.
So it literally my heart. That's it.
Guys, this is the first time that I make somebody cry on my podcast. I hope it's kind
There's
of the
no
last
tears.
time.
It's just water, man.
You know, that's a proof that even men cry. But wow, what a look. Just to wrap it up, I have to say something.
You better not zoom in, eh? No, just kidding.
Yeah. Do you have Kleenex somewhere? No, we don't.
Yeah. I'll use your shit. Just
Just
those followers. I'm just kidding.
just to wrap it up, brother, I have to say that you've been a blessing in my life and to many other people.
And you and mine.
From your generosity, your time, your presence whenever you know people need you. You're an amazing father, husband. I wish you all the luck in the world, and congrats, you know, obviously for the continuous success of Amerigo.
And to you as
And
well.
I want people to go give it a try, and if they can, you know, leave us some comments or even on your page reviews. This place is amazing. It's magical. I brought so many people right in the past few years.
Yeah.
From friends to clients, and it's always been the same thing. Wow, what an experience! It's authentic. It's like if you're eating in Italy. So, brother, honestly, all
Thank you so much.
the luck in the world. Thank you so much, and hopefully, I'm going to see you again here for deeper conversations and maybe
Anytime.
yeah.
Or his future wife at Amerigo, 6127 Moncton. Once again, Bistro Amerigo.
Yeah.